Hello friends, my name is Prathamesh and today we are going to start a new chapter whose name is Markets Around Us. We go to the market to buy many things: vegetables, soap, toothpaste, masala bread, rice, dal, clothes, notebooks, biscuits, etc. If we make a list of the goods that we purchase, it would be really long. There are many kinds of markets that we may visit for our everyday needs. These can include shops, hawker stalls in our neighborhood, a weekly market, a large shopping complex, perhaps even a mall. In this chapter, we look at some of these markets and try to understand how the goods that are sold there reach buyers, who these buyers are, who these sellers are, and the sort of problems they face. Weekly market. A weekly market is so called because it is held on a specific day of the week. Weekly market do not have permanent shops. Traders set up shops for the day and then close them up in the evening. Then they may set up at a different place the next day. There are thousands of such markets in India. People come here for their everyday requirements. Many things in weekly markets are available at cheaper rates. This is because when shops are in permanent buildings, they incur a lot of expenditure. They have to pay rent, electricity, fees to the government. They also have to pay wages to their workers. In weekly markets, these shop owners store the things they sell at home. Most of them are held by their family members and hence do not need to hire workers. Weekly market also has a large number of shopping shops selling the same goods, which means that there is a competition among them. If some trader were to charge a high price, people would move to another shop where the same thing was be available more cheaply or where the buyer can bargain and bring the price down. One of the advantages of weekly market is that most things you need are available at one place. Whether you want vegetables, groceries or cloth items, utensils, all of them can be found here. You do not have to go to different areas to buy different things. People also prefer going to a market where they have a choice and a variety of goods. Samir, seller of clothes. Samir is a small trader in the weekly market. He buys clothes from a large trader in the town and sells them in 6 different markets in a week. He and other cloth sellers move in groups. They hire a minivan for this. His customers are from villages that are near the marketplace. At festivals such as during Deepavali or Pongal, he does good business. So Samir is a seller of clothes and he buys clothes from a large trader in the town and sells them in 6 different markets in a week. He and other cloth sellers move in groups. They hire a minivan. His customers are from villages. At the festivals like Deepavali and Pongal, he does good business. We have seen that shops in the neighborhood. We have seen that the weekly market offers a variety of goods. However, we also buy things from other kinds of market. There are many shops that sell goods and services in our neighborhoods. We may buy milk from the dairy, groceries from departmental stores, stationeries, eatables or medicines from other shops. Many of these are permanent shops while others are roadside stalls such as that of the vegetable hawker, the fruit vendor, the mechanic, etc. Shops in the neighborhood are useful in many ways. They are near our home and we can go there on any day of the week. Usually the buyer and the seller know each other and these shops also provide goods on credit. This means that you can pay for the purchases later, as we saw in Sujata's case for example. You might have noticed that there are different kinds of sellers even in neighborhood markets. Some of them have permanent shops and others sell their goods on the roadside. So next is shopping complexes and malls. So far we have seen 2 kinds of marketplaces, weekly market and markets in our neighborhood. There are other markets in the urban area that have many shops, popularly called shopping complexes. These days in many urban areas you also have large multi-storied air conditioned buildings with shops on different floors known as malls. In these urban markets you get both branded and non-branded goods. as you have read in the chapter on advertising. Branded goods are expensive, often promoted by advertising and claims of better quality. The companies producing these products sell them through shops in large urban markets and at times through special showrooms. As compared to non-branded goods, fewer people can afford to buy branded ones. So next is the chain of markets. In the previous sections you have read about different markets from where we buy goods. From where do you think shop owners procure their goods? Goods are produced in the factories, on farms, and in homes. However, we don't buy directly from the factory or from the farm, nor would the producers be interested in selling us small quantities such as 1 kilo of vegetable or 1 plastic mug. The people in between the producer and the final consumer are the traders. The wholesale trader first buys goods in large quantities. For example, the vegetable wholesaler trader will not buy a few kilos of vegetable, but will buy in large lots of 25 to 100 kilos vegetables. This will then be sold to other traders in these markets. Buying and selling takes place between traders. It is through these links of traders that goods reach faraway places. A trader who finally sells these to the consumer is the retailer. This could be a trader in a weekly market, a hawker in the neighborhood, or a shop in a shopping complex. We can understand this with the help of the following examples. Every city has areas for wholesale markets. This is where goods reach first and are then supplied to other traders. The roadside hawker, whom you read about earlier, would have purchased a large quantity of plastic items from a wholesale trader in the town. He in turn might have brought this from another big wholesale trader in the city. The city wholesale trader would have brought a large quantity of plastic items from the factory and stored them in a godown. In this way, a chain of market is set up. When we purchase, we may not be aware of the chain of markets through which these goods travel before they reach us. So the next point is markets everywhere. So far we have seen different marketplaces where people buy and sell a variety of goods and services. All these markets are in a specific locality and work in a particular manner and time. However, it is not always necessary that one has to go to the market to purchase goods. You can place orders for a variety of things through the phone and these days through the internet, and the goods are delivered at your home. In clinics and nursing homes, you may have noticed sales representatives waiting for doctors. Such a person are also engaged in the selling of goods. Thus, buying and selling takes place in different ways, not necessarily through shops in the market. The markets that we looked at above are the ones that we recognize easily. However, these are markets that we may not be so aware of. This is because a large number of goods are brought and sold that we don't use directly. For example, a farmer uses fertilizers to grow crops that he purchases from special shops in the city and then in turn get them from factories. A car factory purchases engine, gears, petrol tanks, axles, wheels, etc. from various other factories. We don't usually see all the buying and selling, but only the final product, the car, in the showroom. The story is similar for any other good. So the last point is, or the last topic is market and equality. In this chapter we have looked at shop owners in a weekly market and those in a shopping complex. They are very different people. One is a small trader with little money to run the shop, whereas the other is able to spend a lot of money to set up the shop. They also earn in unequal amounts. The weekly market trader earns little compared to the profit of a regular shop owner in a shopping complex. Similarly, buyers are differently placed. There are many who are not able to afford the cheapest of goods, while others are busy shopping in the malls. Thus, whether we can be buyers or sellers in these different markets depends, among other things, or the money that we have. We have also examined the chain of markets that is formed before goods can reach us. It is through this chain that what is produced in one place reaches people everywhere. When things are sold, it encourages production and new opportunities are created for people to learn to earn. However, do they offer equal opportunity? We will try to understand this through the story of a shirt in the next chapter. So, thank you.